Yeah. So let us start the theory of virtual machine. Okay, as I was telling you, right? So we will learn about the virtual machines and the background of the virtual machines, all those things. Okay. So before I get into that, let us understand some terminologies related to the virtual machines in the real world. Okay. So I always talk about the servers, correct? Na? I always talk about the servers. What do you mean by server? Any idea what you mean by servers, guys?
Serve the data, sir.
I mean, server means as the name itself name itself tells you, it serves the data. Correct, right? So probably you might have come across. You may went to for some Aadhaar card registration or any other maybe some ticket booking or whatever it is. They will tell you server is down. That means it is not like server is not available. That means the server is unable to or unable to make the required performance. Say for example, normally if an Aadhaar registration takes 1 minute, when they tell you the server is not there, probably that time it might take you 5 minutes or 6 minutes, or when you submit the information it may just to start loading means they the capacity of the server may be to support or serve about 5,000 requests. But what happens, government means it is always late, delay will be there, so people will come in the last minute rush. So the capacity is 5,000 but 50,000 requests are going there, then the server is unable to handle the load. Okay, that is what the server means. Basically server means the computer which serves an application. If that server is shut down, nobody will be able to do anything. Say for example, let me take an example of Facebook because that is very familiar. Imagine if you turn off your laptop or if you turn off your desktop or your mobile phone, I can even aram se open the Facebook application. That there is no impact on my application. I can, or you, your brother, your sister, your parents can open their Facebook application. Okay, because there is no relation with your phone and the Facebook application, because your computer or your phone is just a client. He is just consuming the application Facebook as an end user. Okay, but if I talk about the server, imagine the server which is there in Chennai for Facebook, that application server itself is went down. Then nobody in India will be able to access the application of Facebook. No matter whether you're using mobile phone, no matter you're using a laptop or a desktop or whatever it is. Okay, if the application server itself is down in the sense maybe some cable cut or maybe the server is shut down at the data center. Okay, you because the since the server is shut down there and it is not serving any application. Okay, and that is the reason we are not able to access the application. So that is the impact. If a server is going down, the application will not be there at all. If a client is shutting, if the clients get shut down, no issues at all. Only that particular client machine will be not able to access the application because intentionally the client is down now. Okay. But the server is not like that. Server always serves an application. I'll make it even more simple. I'll always take this example. So normally when we are hungry, we'll go to where we go when we are outside to eat something. Where we go normally?
Hotel.
So we normally go to the hotels. Who will come and talk to us?
Server.
Yeah. When we go to the hotel, the server will come and talk to us, not the owner. And then server will ask, sir, what do you want? You want idli, vada, sambar, or what do you want? What do you want to eat, sir? Burger? What do you want? He will ask. Then you choose what you want to eat, because it is your option to pick what service you wanted, and the server will go to the kitchen. He will prepare that service for us. So here the server is serving some applications or the services. Okay, and you as a client, you are going and sitting in the hotel and you are just consuming the service whatever you wanted, and the same the server is giving you. Okay, this is what the server and the client difference here. Okay, then next is host. So host means it is nothing but a computer or any network device for that matter in the network. Okay, host is nothing but any device that is having a network connectivity, that is called as host. So predominantly it is a computer or a server or a virtual machine, or it can be a router, switch, firewall. So basically a network resource, we call it as host. Predominantly as an infrastructure, we call it as server and client as the host. Okay. Then the virtual machine. Now you know what is virtual machine, because the day one I was explaining you what is physical server, what is virtual server, and what is the cloud server, right? So physical server means the computer which you can touch and feel. See, now in front of you, you have a laptop. You can touch and feel. It is physically present in front of you. And now we are doing this session, right? You are sitting somewhere, I am sitting somewhere, we have virtually connected, correct? Huh? Because you cannot see me, I cannot see you, I cannot feel that you are there, I cannot feel that you cannot feel that I am here, right? So this is, we are virtually connected. Okay, the things which you are unable to touch and feel, the things which you can only imagine, those things we call it as virtual. Okay, the same thing here, we are building a virtual machine in the data center. The say data center is there in the maybe Western Europe. In the Western Europe data center, we are going to build a virtual machine or a server. Since that server is, we are unable to touch and feel, okay, and we are only imagine, yes, I am now going to build a server, yes, in the Western Europe. I built it, I can access it. So I can only imagine this. That is the reason we call it as this as virtual machine. Okay, so that's what I have mentioned it. A virtual machine is called, a VM is called as a virtual machine. It can be the server operating system or the client operating system. Okay, it can be anything. It can be a client or a server, no matter what. It can have whatever operating system it wanted. It can be a Windows, a Linux, a Red Hat, a CentOS, a FreeBSD, whatever it is. Okay, any operating system for that matter. But basically, it's a computer. Okay, either it is a client or it can be a server operating system. Okay, and then on premises, already know on premises means the premises where you are there. So say for example, you have an office now, small office. You might have seen in every offices you will have a data center or a data room. There you have, they have some servers will be running, some racks will be there. We will mount our mugs, we will mount our routers, switches, all those things we will, and the cabling will be there. So that is called as the on-premises data center. No matter whether you have a small one or a big one or a small rack cabin also there, it's fine. Okay, it is a data center only, that is there at your premises. That is why we call it as on premises. On premises means the place or the location at your place. That is called as on premises. Okay, cloud, you already know. Cloud means it's a remote data center. I already told you in the day one. Cloud is nothing but, okay, I was talking to my friend. Okay, she said, I asked what is cloud. She said moda means cloud, what she can see there, right? So that is what she said, and that is 100% correct, because cloud is nothing but it is an imaginary word. Okay, it's a remote data center, I could say. Okay, why we call it as cloud? We have the physical data center in a remote place. Okay, that remote place can be around 10,000, 12,000, 13,000 kilometer away. See, we are sitting here. If you deploy a virtual machine in the Western Europe or Northern Europe, it will be easily 12,000 kilometer away, correct? Huh? So there we don't know how the data center will be there, but here we connect to the data center using the internet and with a URL called portal.azure.com. Okay, so the internet will allow us to connect with that physical data center. Okay, since this data center is there remotely, we call it as cloud data center. Okay, that is all the cloud is about. If it is physical, if it is at your premises, we call it as on premises. If it is far away, we call it as cloud. Okay, so if Microsoft, if you connect to the data center of Microsoft, we call it as Azure. If you connect to the AWS, we call it as AWS data center. Or if you connect to the GCP, we call it as Google Cloud Platform Data Center. Okay, so this is about the data centers in cloud. So then the migration. Migration means what? Moving one service from one place to another place. Always. Migration means moving from one place to another place. Say for example, now you have an application at on-premises. You have a very old hardware, about 5 or 8 years old, and the hardware is already expired. So there is no support from the vendor. Then Microsoft will tell you, you move this application to from on-premises to the cloud. Then I'll give you some discounts, or I can give you the operating system support. Okay, then what you can do, there are a lot of migration tools, physical to virtual, physical to cloud, or virtual to cloud, like that. There are a lot of tools are there. You just install that cloud, I mean the tool, discover this particular VM or the computer or the server, and select that for the migration. And in the cloud you select in which resource group, which virtual network you wanted to place that VM, and select that information. The virtual machine from the on premises, it will get moved to the cloud. Okay, so that is called as migration. And the site means, you already know, site means it's a physical location. Okay, any location, it is called as physical location. Okay, any question here? Okay, then we have regions, then we have regions, availability zone, availability sets, all those things. Actually, region means it is a physical location where the data centers are located. Okay, so I told you Microsoft has got about 200, sorry, 52 regions. Okay, each regions are separated at least 200 to 250 kilometer away. So consider, example, consider if Microsoft puts the data center, so they will put one data center in Bangalore. Okay, so if you consider Karnataka as a region example, so they will keep three availability zones in the Karnataka itself. Okay, why? Because they will give you the availability zone option. Any question? Yes, Geeta, any question?
No, sir.
I can see you have raised the hand.
Sorry, sir. Thanks.
Okay, see, each and every region will be having, I mean, they will call it as a data center. So each data center will be having three physical data center. Like, when Karnataka, if you call Karnataka as a region, right? So they will keep three data center. One is in Bangalore, one is in Mangalore, another one is in maybe somewhere in Hubli or somewhere. Okay, because they will make sure the distance between each physical data center is about 250 kilometer. So sometimes even more than that. Okay, why? Because they wanted to give the redundancy for their application. They will tell you, so you create an availability zone option. Say for example, you have a very critical application called facebook.com, and don't ever, I mean, never ever have a single application, like a single point of failure. Okay, so you should always have at least 2 to 3 application servers and keep them in the availability zone. So when availability zone means, say for example, you select Karnataka as a region, you build an application, you build three applications. Okay, so one application server you keep it in Bangalore data center, another one you keep it in Mangalore data center, third one you can keep it in Hubli data center. So all these three application servers are connected via load balancer. So when I connect www.facebook.com, I will not directly hit the three servers. I will hit the load balancer. Okay, and behind the load balancer, these three servers are there. And this load balancer is very intelligent enough. It always checks the availability of each server. Okay, every 5 minutes or every some few seconds. Okay, 5 minutes or latest, every 5 minutes it will send some traps. It will identify, like we will when we are traveling uh, to the driver night drive. When we are traveling night time, we'll always talk to the driver just to ensure the driver is is not sleeping, correct na? Like that, the load balancer will also send some traps just to check whether the particular server is up and running or not. Okay, so that is how we'll make sure all the three servers are available. for some extent, if any of the server is not responding to that query, it will consider that the server is not available. Then when somebody hits the application called facebook.com, it will not send the query, I mean application request for that particular server which is down. It will only send the remaining two servers. So if you keep this keep the server like in the availability zone, Microsoft will give you 99.9999% of the uptime. Means triple six digits. Okay, six digit of nine we call it as, okay, triple nine. Sorry, 6 9 of availability they will give, means 99.9999% of the availability they will give you. Okay, availability means your application will always be there, because see, imagine there is a no, tsunami happens in Mangalore. You still have two servers, one is in Bangalore, another one is in Hubli. There is a bomb attack happens in Hubli. Okay, then you still have Mangalore and Bangalore. There is a cyclone happens in Bangalore, then you still have Mangalore and Hubli. Okay, that is why Microsoft tells you to keep the servers in the availability zones. Okay, now you know region. A region means it's a physical location or a data center, okay, built up in the physical region, and each and every region will have three availability zones. Why we need availability zones? So to increase the availability of the application. Okay, then we have an availability set. So that is a costlier solution. Availability is only a costlier solution. Okay, then you have an availability set. So then availability set is also same, but here we will not keep the servers in the three different data center. Here we will keep the servers in the three different physical racks. Okay, so if I go to Chrome, I'll show you Azure availability sets. If I go to images, na, okay, let me select this one. See here, if you consider this as a
If you
region, this is availability zone, availability zone, availability. So I need availability sets. Wait, sorry. Let me take this only. Here, if you look at the availability set, so what they will do, okay, like even more simpler, I'll make it. Azure Data Center. Mm. Let me take this one. Yeah. See, if you consider availability set, so what Microsoft will tell you, don't keep. Uh, I mean, if you are not offered, I mean, if you're unable to pay the money for availability zones, I have a cheaper option, okay, called availability set. So this availability sets will only give you hardware redundancy. Say, for example, you have a data center and you keep the virtual machines in the availability set. So what they will do, if you keep three servers and select you are going to keep the availability set, what they will do, they will keep one server in this rack, another one in this rack, third one is in this rack. Means these three physical boxes will not have the same power source, will not have the same network connectivity. Everything is isolated. If a fire got, if in this particular rack, due to some fire, if that particular rack is down, you still have two more, because they are having a separate connectors, I mean network connection, they are having the separate power source. Okay, so that is how. So availability set means it is the physical redundancy, hardware redundancy. Availability zone means it is a data center redundancy. Okay, if a complete data center goes crash also, you still have two applications in two different data centers in case of availability zone. In case of availability set, you have the servers, all the servers in the same data center, but three different racks. Okay, maybe you can see this one, you'll understand better. Yeah, this is what I'll take. See, there are many racks are there here. Ah, if you look here, see, this is a rack, this is a rack, this is a rack, this is a rack. Here, see, so many racks are there. Maybe one server you may keep it in rack in this physical. I mean, you don't know where it will go. It is all no managed by the algorithm of Microsoft. Okay, you just have to select. I want to keep it in the availability zone one. Sorry, availability set two. Then their algorithm calculate, and they will keep one. They will keep it here. One they will keep it here. Maybe one they will keep it here. Like that, they'll make sure no common power source, no common network resources are having connected. Okay, that is called as availability sets. That's why, see, availability set is the concept of cloud which gives us the hardware level redundancy. When we use availability set while building a server, it makes sure no two VMs are placed in the same rack which shares the common network and power card. That means, say for example, if you keep everything in the same, if a network connector goes down, all the three servers will not have the network and you will not have the applications at all. If power goes for that particular rack, okay, then you don't have the applications up and running, so you will have the problem. Okay, that is the three things are very important: region, availability zones, and availability sets. Okay, these are the beauty of the cloud. Okay, then we have this upscaling means you are increasing the capacity. Say for example, you have one computer with 4 GB memory and some core 2 duo processor or 2 processor or 500 GB hard drive. You want to increase that to maybe 8 GB and 4 CPU. That is called as upscaling, increasing the capacity or configuration of the server to the next level. That is called as upscaling. Downscaling means you see one server, it is always consuming less than 45%. CPU memory is less than 45%. Then what you do, you will downscale. Why? What is the point of downscaling? If you downscale, you will end up paying less money. Correct now? And snoozing means you are shutting down the server when you don't need it. See, you go to the office morning 9 o'clock and your office will be closed by 6 p.m. evening. And you don't use the computer at all or the server at all after 6 p.m. until morning 9 a.m. If you shut down the server during that 6 p.m. and 9 a.m., you will save a lot of money. So that is how. So availability set means. Darshan, can you please go on mute? Applications in two different data centers. In case of availability, so if data center goes crash, also use dependency. Okay, if a complete data center goes Darshan, crash, also you will have two applications in two different data. Okay. So now we know upscaling, now we know downscaling and snoozing. Snoozing means you are shutting down the server when you don't need it or when you are not using it. That's what I told you. Cloud is very flexible. If you don't have a lot of money also, you can straight away go and start your startups. Okay, because it's very flexible. You can play however the way you want it. If you want to run just 2 hours per day, you just go power on, use it, shut it down. Okay, so you have to be very careful because everything should be automated. You should be very focused. If you miss something, then you will get a bill shock. Okay, bill shock means you expected 100 rupees of bill, but you get 1 lakh rupees of bill because you don't know what all resources are consuming in the back end. Correct na? So that is how this upscaling, downscaling, and snoozing will be there. Snapshot means you are taking the current status of the virtual machine to safeguard the application. That is called a snapshot. So we will go to the vacations. We will take the snaps of the scenario of the locality, right? Why? We wanted to preserve that memories as it is, as in that status. We will take the snaps. So here we are taking the snaps of the virtual machines, and that is the reason we call it as snapshots. So if you want to preserve that state as it is of the virtual machine, we call it as snapshots. Okay, why do we take snapshots? Say for example, you are doing some patching activity, so you wanted to ensure the application is safeguarded. So before you start the patching activity, you will take the snapshot of the virtual machine disks, okay, and then perform the change. I mean, do the patching activity, restart the server, check, do validation, everything. If everything is fine, then you can straight away give the application to the production. If not, if you are facing any issue, try to fix the issue. If you're able to fix the issue, then what you can do, you can create the image. I mean, you can take the snapshot, and from the snapshot you can restore the previous state of the virtual machine. Okay, that is why these snapshots are very, very useful. And then you have this primary region, secondary region. Primary region means your physical production region. Every company will have primary and secondary region. Okay, if Bangalore is your primary, it could be Mysore is your secondary region. You can keep all your critical workloads one copy in the DR region or the secondary region. Okay, so primary region means your production region, secondary region means the region which is there in the secondary level. Okay, it is just to safeguard your applications in the secondary region. You will keep one copy of the servers in the secondary region. I'll explain you all those things in future also, but you should have. Primary means your current location. Secondary region means some other office where you only have the critical workloads kept there, just to safeguard. Okay, that is primary region. And then virtual machine, you already know virtualization. You already know virtual machine means it is a computer which you cannot touch and feel, you can only imagine. Virtualization means a concept of creating multiple virtual machines, or a concept of creating, you know, see, virtualization is the process of a lot more efficient. Okay, means the process of converting one physical server into multiple small servers, it is called as virtualization. Okay, you have a one physical box of 100 CPU, 1 terabyte of memory, and 10 terabyte of storage. Using this virtualization, what you can do, you can create small computers. You can take out of 100 CPU, you take 4 CPU. Out of 1 terabyte of memory, you take around 16 GB memory. Out of that 10 terabytes of storage, you take 500 GB of hard drive, and create one virtual machine. And that virtual machine works as a separate server. That process we call it as virtualization. There are a lot of virtualizations are there. Bare metal, we have VMware, vSphere is there, hypervisor is there, Citrix, IBM, etc., etc. There are a lot of virtualization providers are there. Okay, and hypervisor, you already know, in the previous class I have explained you bare metal and type 2 hypervisor. Bare metal hypervisor means your ESXi host. You will install hypervisor as an operating system. The type 2 means you will install hypervisor as an application. That's all. Okay, any question you can just ask me, no problem. And why do we need virtualization? Virtualization means resource efficiency, easier management, minimal downtime, faster provisioning. Means resource provisioning is very, very efficient. Say for example, if you have 4 CPU and 8 GB memory, if that utilization is less than 40-50% always, so you think that okay, this particular virtual machine is underutilized, you can reduce the size of the virtual machine. You can reduce the CPU and memory, and you can take it back. Physical means it is you cannot do that. If you have a physical server, you cannot take 2 GB memory, or you cannot take some CPUs outside, because it's physically bounded. It is physically molded. Molded. Okay, that is why. And easier management, you can just go to the console and you will see all the virtual machines available. You can take the snapshot, you can shut down, you can do whatever operations you wanted. But in case of data center, if you want to see a physical data, you have to physically go in front of the computer, touch that, and press the power button. Correct now? That is very, very hectic. But if in case of virtualization, you don't have any no physical data center, you just go to the portal, some portal will be there, just log into that portal, and you see all the available virtual machines, no matter 100, 200, 500,000, everything will come there. You just right click onto operations. Minimal downtime. See, OS application crashes, everything happens, right? You have the snapshots, take the create the disk again, and attach that disk to the virtual machine, and within half an hour you can restore the application. So it is faster. But if in case of physically crash means, you cannot do that. You have to ask the backup team, you have to install the operating system freshly, ask them to restore the backup again. That will take longer downtime. Okay, and faster provisioning. See, if you want to buy one small laptop also, you will go to 100 shops. We'll go to Lenovo, we'll go to Dell, we'll go to Chroma, we'll go to Pi. We will take the configuration and the quotation. and then finally we'll select. Okay, like this is cheaper, this is a better configuration, like that. Okay, then that will happen about at least a week to 10 days of time just to buy a small laptop. Imagine in the companies, if they want to buy the physical servers, what they will do, they will send the email to Dell, IBM, HP, example. Then they will ask the quotation, they will respond after a week. Okay, this is what the for your requirement we have these many servers, the cost is this one. Then we will compare, collate all the three vendors quotation, then we will choose the best one, and we will drop an email, yes we wanted it, and then we will raise a PO, purchase order. The purchase order, when you raise it, has to go to the IT head who will approver. Once he approve the thing, then the PO will go to the customer. Then customer will initiate the order in their system. Then a new hardware will get manufactured. If it is already there, then it will get delivered. Normally they will manufacture freshly. Okay, everything goes on order based. Then they will take about 15 days of time. Then they will shift the hardware to our office. Then they will only come and install the hardware. Okay, we cannot do that. So that process will take about minimum 45 days of time in case of virtualization and physical. But in case of cloud and in case of our virtualization, okay, it is very fast. You already have the device, just go to the portal, create a new virtual machine. Within 2 minutes you can create and clean everything. Okay, that is called as faster provisioning. Okay, all these are the terminologies I wanted to explain, and we wanted to see, and there are some families of the virtual machines. Okay, there are certain families of the virtual machine. Okay, the different purposes we call it as family. So if you want to use a virtual machine for a general purpose, we have a series called general purpose, and we have, if you have graphics based, or if you have if you have anything hype, gaming purpose, everything, then you have this GPU and NVIDIA. So you have lot of writing, reading operations. Okay, then you have this high performance, and you have some applications like they need more number of memory, less number of CPU. Then you should go to the memory optimized. Sometimes we have huge CPU requirement, 4 GB memory is enough. That time you can go to the compute optimize. Compute means it's CPU. Then storage optimize means some servers they need lot of storage, less CPU and memory. That time you can go to the storage optimize. So that particular virtual machines will support lot of storage. Normally computer won't support too much of storage. If you increase the storage more, the performance will be impacted. Okay, that is why whenever you are selecting or choosing any of the series, you have to keep these things in the mind. Okay, general purpose you can give for anything, no problem. High performance you can give for anything, no problem, but the cost is high. Okay, see, normally in the physical world, a computer means it is everything. What is everything? It has got CPU, it has got memory, it has got storage, it has got graphics card. Correct, right? Everything. But in case of cloud, when somebody talks about compute, it is nothing but only CPU and memory, no storage. Storage additional. When you buy a virtual machine, they will call it as compute. The compute means they will only give you CPU and memory. You will not talk about the storage. Storage is an additional cost. Okay, so that is why you have to think very careful, because in the cloud everything is separate entities. Memory is separate, cloud CPU separate, and storage is separate. When you buy a compute of 4 CPU and 8 GB memory, Microsoft will give you only 4 CPU and 8 GB memory and 125 GB of your operating system. That is what the compute they give you. If you want storage extra, D drive, E drive, any other drive, you need to pay extra. There again cost. You want standard HDD, you want standard SSD, premium SSD, ultra disk, whatever you want. Depend upon your usage or your requirement, the cost will also be get increased. Okay, so I will tomorrow I am going to explain each and everything in the computer. Okay, because tomorrow I am going to create the virtual machine. That creation normally take 2 minutes, but I'll explain in 1 hour, because you need to understand each and everything there. Okay, then I will also ask you to deploy the VMs and also you will get it familiarized. Okay, any question here in the virtual machine? Take a snap of it if you want. Okay. So we have multiple SKUs or tiers structure. Tiers and the SKUs are nothing but the configurations. Okay. See, basic tiers means you have this A series. All the A series A0 to A4 are A0 to A4, right? These are all called basic tier. Okay. Maybe you can use it for development and then test workloads. Okay. And you have standard series. Okay. A series, D series, DV2 series, F series, G series, N series. Okay, these are all called as the production workloads. Okay, A series general purpose, D series means with local SSD solid state drive, SSD node solid state drive will be there. Okay, and DV2 F series, G series, all these things you can see. Okay, and if you want more number of, I mean too much of memory, then you have to go with the G series that supports up to 448 GB memory. One virtual machine will support up to 448 GB memory in the G series. But if you go to M series and D series, they will go for terabytes, 500 GB, 600 GB, 1 TB also it supports. Okay. Um in case of the Microsoft SAP certified, SAP certified means we will use that particular workload for the SAP applications, your CRM applications, your ECC system or your PO system, blah blah. There are multiple environment in the SAP. Okay, so those supports multiple. I mean, too much of memory and storage there. Okay. So virtual machine disk, I told you by default it will come 128 GB C drive or the operating system drive. Remaining whatever you wanted, you have to add additionally. There you can select hard drive you want, SSD you want, premium SSD you want, or ultra disk you want. And based on your requirement, you can select it actually. Okay. So I mean maximum. If somebody asks you what is the maximum limit, earlier it was 1 TB, but now each and every computer will support up to 4 TB of storage. Okay, and this virtual disk in the cloud we call it as VHD, virtual hard drive we call it as this VMware disk we call it as virtual hard disk in the uh, cloud. Okay, or in the virtualization world. So you might have heard IOPS. IOPS means it is input output operations per second. Input output operations per second means this output, sorry, this IOPS decides how faster your computer is. Okay. So if you have too much of read and write operations, right, then you have to go with more number of IOPS related virtual machines. Okay. So that is called as IOPS. I'll explain you all those things. You see the SKUs size of the virtual machines will be like this: type, description, and users. You can take this snapshot of it. You can see it in my Microsoft portal. Maybe there are a few more. Every very frequently these things will be keep on updating. So no problem. You can see it in the portal. And how the ways of deploying the virtual machine, there are multiple ways of deploying the virtual machines. You can go to the Azure portal and build. You can use the PowerShell scripts. You can use the CLIs to build the virtual machines. You can even use Azure Resource Manager ARM template. Okay, and now there are a lot of automation tools also there. Terraform is there. Many things, bicep templates are there. Okay, there are a lot of things are there. It is all tools agnostic. Okay, that is why tools agnostic means you can bring any of your tool, and you can do the automation. That is called as tools agnostic. And there are two deployments model, classic and the IRM. So classic, it got stopped very long back actually, but now the latest deployment model is the Azure Resource Manager, ARM, Azure Resource Manager, or ARM deployment model. If somebody asks you what is the deployment model we have in cloud, you tell there are two. One is classic, another one is the latest, which is the ARM. The ARM is the latest. Classic is nowhere available now. Okay, but they will ask you what is the latest deployment model. 100% in the interview they'll ask you for a fresher, like 1 year, such kind of experience people. And the lastly, what are the activities that you do with respect to the virtual machine? This is important because in your day-to-day work, right, you will do only these things. Okay. So what kind of work you do with respect to the virtual machine? You may start or stop the virtual machine. You may snooze the virtual machine, and you may get an issue. The which VM is very slow. Check. Then you will log into the server and analyze what is the why the performance is less. And imaging, take the images, take the snapshots, okay, upscaling or downscaling the virtual machine as and when it comes, creating the new disk, removing the disk, increase the disk size, all those things we do, okay. And take the disk snapshots and look at the activity log. Activity log means it is a place where you can see what all activities happened for that particular virtual machine. It's a kind of event tracker or event viewer. Like we have event viewer in the cloud, I mean the Windows operating system, you can also see the events or the activities for that particular resources in the cloud, okay. That is activity. I'll explain you all these things. And then resource health check means you have a blade called resource health. You can go there and see the health of the virtual machine or any resource for that matter. If any issue is there, it will just give an error there, if this is what is there, and do this thing to fix the issue, like that. Okay, these are all the activities, and finally we are done with the slides. Okay, any question? Let me stop the recording and then I'll take the questions.